Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Green Room Podcast. I'm Matthew Bruni, and joining me once again is Colin Mitchell. But it's not the Colin Mitchell you're used to, folks. It's Colin Mitchell with bad internet
I don't even
and a
have that. What I don't
poor
understand is that
connection.
it's fine on my end. It's fine. I'm having the internet speeds are good. I have a bunch of stuff open. I have my work open. It's not disconnecting. So I don't know, man.
We'll blame StreamYard. There's a part of me that's like, what if I'm making a big deal of this and it just comes out and it's perfectly fine?
No, we make a big deal of it because we made it a big deal for you. You know what I'm saying?
But at the same time, I don't know. It's not looking good for you, Colin. It's not looking good. So, but we can hear you, and that's all that matters. That's all that matters.
At least
Your
they can see
voice.
the stills of my sweater.
Yeah, there you go. We see your sweater. Maybe that's why the internet's messing up. There's too many,
Too many zigzags.
yeah, zigzags. It's interrupting the signal. You saw the internet saw you, and they're like, we can't let this be online. So there you go. Well, how was your Christmas?
It's great. My birthday was great too, Brittany. Thank you for
Oh
asking.
yeah, you had your birthday,
Yeah,
December
yeah.
24th.
It was
Every
great.
year.
It was really it was great. How was your Christmas, Bernie?
It was fantastic. Went to San Antonio.
Mm.
Got a ticket on the way up to visit you.
Oh, I thought I was gonna say you got another one. That would have been
No.
just.
However, last night I'm driving home from the LSU men's basketball game,
Mm-hmm.
and there's like this dark patch, like a little curve. And as you know, as I'm coming around it, I see the cop sitting there, and I'm like, and it's like one of those things where I'm like, I
Please
don't
God.
think I don't think I was going too fast, but I don't know what the speed limit is, and I don't know how fast I was going, but it didn't feel like I was going very fast.
Mm-hmm.
And then so I go, and then all of a sudden his lights turn on, and he pulls out and goes the other way and gets somebody going the opposite way. And I was like, bro,
That's crazy.
I've been trying to be so careful over the past week.
Not careful enough.
I thought I was gonna get got again. I was just gonna start crying. I think that's what I haven't tried yet to get a warning or get let off. Like I just haven't started bawling.
Oh man, that's funny.
If it ever happens, then you'll know I'm desperate. Speaking of desperate, Colin, North Texas basketball.
Yeah.
There's a lot to unpack here. For those listening, maybe we didn't watch the game. North Texas loses to FAU 50-46, and for even more context into this game, this is a very, very big game. Okay, everybody needs to understand the significance of this game. Okay, FAU entered the game, I believe. I'm not going to speculate on the net. They're very high in the net rating. North Texas was 42 in the net ranking. In Ken Palm, FAU was 36. North Texas, I think this is after this game. So after this game, now North Texas drops down to 58. But coming in, they were 54th. So it's pretty much a game between two top 50 teams in the country. Okay. On the broadcast, they said this was only the second time that Super Pits ever had top 50 matchup before. I believe it. Sounds like something that'd be true. It would definitely had the rankings and the metrics and all that stuff going
Had
into
everything
this
going
game.
for it.
Yes, of it being a very significant game. And North Texas ends up losing 50-46. We'll unpack how it happened and our thoughts from it and everything like that. But just from a big picture perspective, it's the second game of conference. It's not ultimately going to. It's not going to derail the season. If they win out the rest of the way, or if they only lose 2 other games the rest of the conference, then I think they'll be fine. But it was a chance at a resume win, and they did not pass that test. So, Colin, where do you want to start when we unpack this game?
I think the biggest thing is over the last 8 minutes of the game, FAU had a 15-2 run, which is just awful. Because I thought I got up to make some nachos. I thought the game was over. Like 5 minutes left. I was like, oh, it's fine. They're gonna close it out. FAU can't hit shots. North Texas will get a couple more. It'll be all right. I come back, sit down. There's like 2.5 minutes left, and I go, what is happening? And it just same thing over and over again. You have Tyler come down, heave some shots up. You got Kai that misses a wing three. Jaden Martinez, I think, on the left corner missed a three. It was contested though. Ruben Jones misses. I don't even understand how you can miss a free throw in that type of situation like that, especially with it being Ruben. Like, I don't even know what his career is, but it's not bad.
No,
Career free throw percentage.
He's a good free throw shooter.
And that was just the epitome of the whole game. Listen, you're not. Would you say coming into the season or after the Southern Nazarene game when we were panicking? No,
Okay.
no.
Go ahead.
It's nothing bad.
Go ahead.
This team cannot win if they don't make threes. They were 3 of 22 from the 3-point line today, and they were handed 3 of 23 from FAU today. And the only three that mattered for FAU was one right after you said, I forgot his name already.
Michael Forrest.
Yeah, Forrest got it in him. And then he comes down, hits it, and I was like, they had a 2-point lead, and I was like, that's game. And it was game. You had so many open shots today. You had Kai with a couple. You had Ruben, I don't think had one. You had Matthew Stone with one. Oh, Ruben had 3 threes. So let me just go on the list. Aaron Scott, 0-2. Tyree Edey, 0-2. Kai Huntsberry, 0-4. Ruben Jones, 0-3. Matthew Stone, 0-1. And then Jaden Martinez, 1-4. And I just want to cap the end of this off with, you have 2 of those guys were transfers that were prominent on the teams they used to play for. Kai Huntsberry, obviously, from University of Mary, then Tyree Edey from North Dakota State. Kai Huntsberry shot 41% from 3 last year on almost 6 attempts per game. Almost 6 attempts per game. Now he was shooting just over 2.5 per game, and he's shooting 22%. Tyree Edey, last year at North Dakota State, shot 37% from 3, albeit just averaging just under 3, but he's averaging 24% this year. What is happening? Jaden Martinez, if we even want to go even deeper, at New Hampshire, he shot 41% from 3 on almost 5 attempts. Now he's shooting only 3 attempts, and he's making 36% of them. Everyone has regressed to where there's no shots being made anywhere. Nobody at all. And it's the most infuriating thing I've ever watched. Ever. Sorry. Okay, I'm done.
No, you're good. Ruben Jones is 3 of 22 from 3 as well this year. If you want to
I
throw
didn't
that.
look him. I was talking about new guys coming in. I wasn't trying to.
Oh, remember when Ruben was a freshman, he shot 40% from 3. Just remember that. Now he's a junior. You brought up the Southern Nazarene game, and I think you hit on a really good point, but it wasn't even the point I was going to hit on.
Oh, I only brought it up specifically because that's when you said this team is not going to win games if they can't threes. But anyways, continue.
That podcast,
great podcast,
was gold. That was an elite podcast. Like that was our Luka Doncic putting up 60, 20, and 10.
No, I feel like we've had better podcasts before.
We've had better podcasts.
I mean, it was just a Southern Nazarene game.
I know,
we were just upset. That's all it was.
I mean, the Mavericks were playing who in that game? Like, it's just...
Yeah, but think about this: we're on top, right? The Mavericks aren't, so it's big. Every game's a big game for them. Whereas you know what I'm saying?
Look, I found myself thinking about the Southern Nazarene game over the past 15 minutes as Colin tried to get his Wi-Fi to work. Okay, and the podcast that we did after that, because you remember when I went through the lineup and I was like, X 0 points, Y 0 points, Z 0 points. All right, let's do it for this game.
I'm super
Aaron
excited.
Scott,
yep,
23 minutes, 0 points.
Give him how many attempts they had overall as well.
Yeah, Aaron Scott 0 for 2, 0 points. Tyree Edey 20 minutes, 0 for 3, 0 points. Matthew Stone 27 minutes, 0 for 1, 0 points. Jaden Martinez, 18 minutes, 1 of 4, 3 points. Kai Huntsberry, 29 minutes, 2 of 10, 4 points. And, Mule Sissoko played 1 minute for 0 points. But you get the picture. I received playful, banter since that podcast of when I said my panic rating was an 8.
Yeah.
That game, remember? And after I said that, I was like, look, they're going to be fine. They're going to do great in conference play. They're going to do all these things. But the standard that we hold them to is to win a conference championship, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what we've always held them to. And for that reason, that's why my panic rating was an 8. Now they go through non-conference play. They look fine for the most part. throw out the St. Mary's game. They beat everybody except UNC Wilmington. They blow out UTSA. We're like, okay, it's all peachy. It's all good. They still weren't making shots, and they were still playing guys that can't score or not. Like you said, these guys could score, but they can't score anymore. They can't score anymore.
Isn't that the wait? Just listen to that. I just named off 3 guys, and I would say that Kai and Jaden played for probably significantly worse teams than North Texas.
Yeah.
North Dakota State was pretty good.
Yeah,
but I named off 3 guys who came in and they just can't score anymore. They're just seated to score.
Nothing. Tyree, like we said last time, was averaging 10 points a game last year. Zero. Aaron Scott, I predicted him to take a pretty big step forward this year. 0 points. 0. And it's not even, I mean, obviously, like, we look at it and be like, oh, they don't need to score. They play great defense. Of course, they play great defense. At the end of the day, you're not going to win games scoring 46 points. You're not. The La Tech last year, you scored 38 points or whatever it was. You're not going to win that game. And that's why the entire offseason, the entire non-conference season was about what? It was about their offense.
Yep.
It was about figuring out the offense. And now we sit here one game out, and we'll get into why this game was so important and why we're upset at it outside of us just being fans at this point. But we'll get into that later. But just from a personnel perspective and what this team is perspective, this is the same team that played Southern Nazarene, even though they didn't have Ruben and Tyler. It's the same team. Like, those guys are what they are at this point. Everybody is what they kind of is what it is. And as much as I want it to change, that's what North Texas is right now. And it is concerning to a degree because you don't have Javion Hamlet, Zachary Simmons, James Reese, Mo Gibson. These guys, Roosevelt Smart 2018 or 2017 form where he's going to come in and just jack threes and hit. Like, you don't have those guys anymore. And with that being said, last year I didn't think they had those guys. But you had JJ and Thomas, and this team, as much as I like Tyree Edey and I like Matthew Stone, and like I think those two are probably the replacements for those two in a way, they're not them. They're not. And it's hard to be them because you can only be so good when you're not scoring the basketball. That's the bottom line. You can only be so good when you're not scoring the basketball, when you're playing basketball. So that's my main thing with this team is that, yeah, you can make fun of us for the Southern Nazarene podcast for freaking out over that win. But what we said 2 months ago has clearly not changed. Like, what we said 2 months ago is right. And it showed in this game over the last 8 minutes.
Here's the biggest thing for me is I said one had to bend and the other one had to break for North Texas. Or, which one? FAU going to score or is North Texas defense going to do its thing? FAU played into North Texas's hand the whole game. I mean, up until the last minute. I mean, they only put up how many points? 50 points?
Yeah, 50 points.
The issue here wasn't who broke. It was the fact that North Texas couldn't overcome its own. Like, North Texas outplayed themselves in terms of not scoring the basketball because FAU only put up 50 points. Like I said, 323 from 3. We're not putting up points. They clearly looked rattled with like 6 or 7 minutes left in the game. All you had to do was put it away. That was it. It was your game to lose. And that's the part that I think is the most frustrating to me because this conference is going to be a lot harder. You have teams like UAB, UTEP just pushed them to double overtime. Western just lost to Rice. You have a good, Rice is really good. They put almost, I think, did they take Texas to overtime or did they almost get to overtime? Took them to overtime. You're not going to have games against teams that are not used to being in those situations. And that showed tonight. Like, North Texas, obviously, the last 3 years has shown that they will play the hardest over any team. And they showed that tonight. But that's not always going to get you the win now. Because it didn't tonight. I mean, last year you could get away with having to throw Tyler out there and then he makes a hero shot. Well, he cramped up tonight, and then what did you have? You had absolutely nothing. You had to make a free throw at one end, and then it seemed insurmountable once it was missed.
Yeah.
So that's why it hurts for me. Not just because they lost a game, because the game's a game. There was a stat in the broadcast, they haven't won their first 2 opening games since 2018 or something like that. The fact is that they're not playing Southern Miss. They're not playing name another team. Left
Like I said,
FIU.
there's only 2 bad teams in this conference out
Right,
of 11.
exactly.
There's 2. That's it. And so they play everybody twice, so you have those 2 games, but everybody else is going to be a challenging game. And that's not even why this game means a lot. And I still want to put down the back burner. I still want to get to that later. Tyler Perry, 19 points. Abu, 12 points. Felt like Abu had more than 12 points. Felt like he was doing even more. But as a team, they only scored 46, so I guess you
Right.
can't score too much more. Ruben had 8 points, including the one where he batted in with the back of his hand.
That was crazy.
Somehow he did that. But it's just it's perplexing to me how last year's team was the slowest offense in the country, and it made sense. And now this year we're sitting here and it's the slowest offense in the country, despite the head coach wanting to play faster, despite having more offensive talent than last year. Like, how have we gotten to this point?
Yeah.
It feels like we're on a default setting here with North Texas, and last year kind of put us in that position to where, okay, we're just going to play really conservatively and just win the game at all costs, just buckle down, fight. JJ and Thomas will end up punching somebody's tooth out, and we'll win the game because they dove for a loose ball, and we come up with, and Tyler hits a 3. Like, that's what last year was.
Yeah.
It's like, you don't have to live like this anymore.
Well, let's also be clear. If they were winning games and efficient from the field, I wouldn't care if they played this way.
Exactly. But they're also playing slow because they're scared of their offense. And I'm saying they shouldn't be scared of their offense with this personnel. That was the whole thing coming into the year. You have this personnel. You have these guys. You have Ruben, Kai, Tyler as your backcourt. That should be able to run a little bit more. You have Aaron Scott and Jaden Martinez who can play a 4 or 5 that can give you a little bit of flexibility at times. Edie, like I said, was averaging 10 points a game last year. There were so many signs of us to say that this was going to be a different team than last year. And now it feels like they're trying to recreate last year without last year's personnel.
Right.
But yet somehow they have better offensive personnel, in my opinion. So it's a really perplexing situation. And I know we're going to get I guess some people will probably say, they were, what, if Ruben makes those free throws, maybe they're going to overtime. Maybe they have a chance of winning the game.
The game was lost after Forrest hit that 3. What did you tell me? You texted me any North Texas 2-point lead, or sorry, every point's a 2-point
double lead. Every lead in the North Texas.
It's the same way the other way.
Yes,
it's the same way the other way. The second that was hit, I said it's over. They're not scoring again because they hadn't. Yes. So and that's the worst part is every lead looks insurmountable no matter how much it is. Like I was worried up until they finally got that 8-point lead. Worried the whole entire time. And then, we saw what happened.
Yeah. And just to kind of wrap up this offensive conversation here, they are currently 330th in the country in effective field goal percentage, 293rd in the country from 3, 318th from 2. The only reason that their offense is any good is because they don't turn the ball over and they offensive rebound at a very high rate. So, and obviously those numbers are kind of bogged down with the St. Mary's games and the St. Southern Nazarene games. Sure. But like I said before, you could tell watching the Southern Nazarene game and the St. Mary's games and those games early in the season that something wasn't right.
Yeah.
It wasn't right. So, real quickly, I do want to talk about why this game matters so much and why it might sound like we're hitting the panic button on this team. Okay.
Right.
North Texas was if they win this game, North Texas was in a great spot to fight for an at-large bid.
Yes.
Just to fight in a great spot. All right. Now, obviously, there's a lot of conference left. There's 18 more conference games left. All right. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. But if you win this game, and let's just throw out a number. Let's say they go 17-3 in conference, and they make it to the championship game, the conference championship, and lose to UAB or FAU, right? This type of win is a significant resume boost because it's your best win of the year by far. Like, right, like you'll have UAB later on. Let's say they split with them, but if these are the type of games you have to kind of win if you really want to be taking it seriously as an at-large bid,
especially when you had it.
especially when you have it and you
Yep.
just don't score for 8 minutes. So that's why it's so disappointing. That's why it might sound like we're going crazy on here, but this game, it just matters. Just like the Southern Nazarene game, if they lost that game, boom, tear it up the bracket. You're not going. All right, it's done. This game, if you win the game, it has the opposite effect. You're in the driver's seat to a degree as far as mid majors goes. You're the metrics, the net rating, the KenPom, all of that stuff. You'll be in the top 50 in the country and
Yeah.
continuing to rise as you beat. Let's say you beat FIU, Western, Middle, La Tech as your next 4 games. You're climbing up into the top 45.
Yep.
This game drops you back a decent amount, and you have to hope FAU continues to win because then you start relying on other people to win games for you. And that's never a situation you want to be in. So that's why I'm really disappointed is a strong word, but I think disappointed is the right word. I'm disappointed they couldn't get this game
Yeah.
because it felt kind of predictable, and I was hoping I was wrong.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it was the up until they finally ended up hitting some shots. I was like, okay, this does not look good. This is really bad. They
Well,
hit
the
the
whole thing,
shots, and they
I was just
sorry.
like, no, I'm sorry, I cut you off. I was waiting on FAU to make a shot. Like honestly,
Right.
no, like North Texas defense is awesome. It's great. It's fantastic. It is elite. At the end of the day, I thought FAU had a lot of shots that they could have made throughout the entire game. And then all of a sudden they just started making shots. And then Tyler Perry cramps and they hit a 3. And like you said, they can't recover from it.
Yeah. Well, and it's uncharacteristic of this team also to give away lead once you have it. Like once the game is in their hands, in the past they've always finished it out.
Yeah.
I can't think of a big game off the top of my head that they haven't, and that's the main issue here because where are you going to find that from? Because obviously right now it's not going to be scoring, and the schedule, we talked about this last week. The schedule is not good coming up. Like you have Western in 2 games, right?
Yeah. FIU,
West.
Western, Middle, La Tech are your next 4.
Yep. And then
And
FAU
then
right after
FAU.
La Tech.
And then this time FAU on the road. That's another reason. These are home games. You conference, if you look across the country, I'll speak for the SEC because that's what I watched last night. But like I was there here in Baton Rouge. LSU took on the number 9 team in the country, and I thought LSU was going to get smoked. They ended up beating them. Why? Because they're playing at home. Just you don't lose home games in conference play. You can't. And so, I don't have anything else. Do you?
No. No.
Last thing I'll say is, I think this team will be fine.
Yes. I don't.
I
Yeah.
think,
I don't want to. I don't think they're going to be like
I think they're
middle of
going to
the
win the
pack.
next 4 games.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be middle of the pack or at all.
No.
They're going to be a top team in Conference USA. It's like you said, you're holding them to a standard and what we expected them to be based on what they've done in the offseason. And that's just not coming to fruition at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah. So you add that with the at-large side of things, and then the fact that I don't know how much it can change over the next month, right?
Yep.
Like how much different can this team look in a
Yeah.
month? Like there's a lot of teams in the country. If you watch them, you're like, oh, I can see where the progression could come from. I can see it. Matthew Stone's not shooting more than one time in a game. He's not. Tyree Edey doesn't. I mean, maybe Tyree Edey figures something out and starts making shots. I don't know. Maybe Ruben starts making shots. I don't know. It would be great if this team could make shots because that's what basketball is, and that's what they did last year. Because that's the biggest. I'm just repeating myself at this point.
We're just going in circles.
It's just that's the difference. You look at 3-point percentage over the last few years, right? Let me just read it off real quickly. 2020, 17th in the country in 3-point percentage, 37.5%. 2021, 36th in the country in 3-point percentage. Last year, 59th in the country in 3-point percentage. This year, 294th in 3-point
Yeah.
percentage.
Yep.
Basketball's an easy game, Colin. You know that. When we play basketball.
Yeah, because I hit so many threes.
Exactly. They need you out there.
I'm not a.
You're Tyree Edey, man. Or are
How
you
many?
Matthew Stone?
If you had as many open threes tonight, you make one of them.
Come on, Colin.
Bruni works on his game harder than
Come on,
any
Colin.
non-professional or college player I've ever seen in my life. This dude just be out in the gym just shooting for hours sometimes.
I say that knowing that I did not shoot when I did shoot once when I was in San Antonio, so just slacked a little bit there. But
Hey, it's
I
the
just
holidays. You're
you know how
not
it
a
is.
pro. You're not
You
a
know how
pro.
it is. You know how it is. But I'm just saying, who?
You got any eligibility?
No.
You could be DJ Draper.
I'm just
Except
saying.
except
I'm
not as
just shocked that Kai is broke. I texted you this. I
yeah.
don't
It's
know how
it
that
hurts. It
happens.
hurts me.
Like we were literally told. Like we kept hearing Kai Huntsberry could be the best player on this team. Like Kai Huntsberry is could legitimately lead this team in scoring. And now in the biggest game of the season, we're here 2 months later. Kai Huntsberry 4 points, 2 of 10 shooting, over 4 from 3. Not a free throw attempt, 1 turnover, 0 assists. That's it.
Woo.
That's it. All right. Again, they're gonna be fine. They're gonna be fine. They'll win these games. They should win these next 4 games, I think, pretty not comfortably. Middle's really good, and that's a road game. That middle game will be interesting. Western's always tough too, even though Western's up and down. So you got that Western middle stretch. I won't panic too much if they drop one of those. Maybe I don't.
Depends on
No,
how it happens. It
I don't
depends
know,
on how
man.
it
They
happens.
got to win. You dropped one game that
It's
you
true.
shouldn't have dropped.
It's true.
So now the margin for error is dipped a little bit because if they lose one of those 2 games and then they go and lose to FAU on the road, which is very possible. What are
And you
they?
got to play
3-3.
UAB. Yeah. Yeah, that's not okay.
So I don't know. We'll see. And again, maybe we just we hold them to the standard of winning championships, regular and postseason. Regular season to me means a lot more than postseason, even though postseason gets you in the tournament. But we'll see what they do. We'll see where they go from here. We appreciate y'all for joining us. Sorry for Colin's wife actually got better as the podcast went on,
I
but I'm
didn't.
sorry for his sweater that you all had to see that.
Yeah, and the hat combo. Honest, that's that maybe the egregious part of this whole thing is that I decided to put this on. I'm wearing NBA joggers. Like this is a degenerate's outfit for sure.
Wow.
For
Yeah,
sure.
that is a good one. I have a Jason Williams shirt jersey on that I've had for at least 4 years.
Shurzy.
Jersey, shout out to Jersey. But yeah, that's all we got for y'all today. Hope y'all enjoyed it. Hope y'all have a great new year. Don't think we'll be talking to y'all before that, but I hope y'all have a great new year, and hope y'all had a great Christmas and happy holidays and all that good stuff. Leave us a like in the comment in the
Are
comment
you
below.
okay?
No, I can't speak. I'm sorry. Comment below, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. We appreciate y'all for joining us, and we will talk to y'all later.
Man, you butchered that. That was. Did you have like a stroke or something? Like what happened? You like couldn't speak.
When you do enough podcasts, Colin, you it's not perfect, all right? I don't even have my contacts on. This was a throw it together type game.
I mean, you see what I'm wearing right now, Bruni?
You look like you just got done coming from like a rave or something.
Yeah, this is kind of
You
a
should
crazy
go to a
story.
rave.
I'm never going to a rave.